Hello, this is the Silver Watchman, and welcome back to the Hopeless series. Now, this is episode number 10. 12. Yeah, that's a good way to start it, to open up a video with an absolute brain fart. But don't worry, a lot of them are going to happen. But this is the last episode of this particular Hopeless game. This is the first Hopeless game, by the way. So technically we can officially and unofficially call it Hopeless 1. Now, it's removed from the market and whatever, but previously, in the previous episode of the Hopeless series, we talked about marriage and sex. So, yeah, that was a thing. Things got a tad bit uncomfortable, and I used some very, very old slang, because why not? So, we're going to bring up something else. So, while we're on that topic, marriage and sex. Now, like I said before, God does not forbid sex. But he does want it to be within the confines of marriage. Now, what is marriage? Well, we pretty much defined that in the previous episode, so we're just going to do a brief overview. Marriage is a holy unity between a man, woman, and God, united together under God. Man and woman. Man and woman. Okay then, so when you're both married and you're together and you're under God, God's gonna recognize that. Whether or not the government recognizes it or not is irrelevant. Because if you're married according to the government but not according to God, you are still unmarried. Because the standards of the world are constantly changing, they are unreliable to go upon. Sad truth, but it's, a thing. I mean, there was a time where alcohol was illegal. Yeah, that's... I mean, not even God bans alcohol. He just says don't get drunk. You can drink, just don't get drunk. Nowhere in the Bible does it say anywhere that you are not allowed to have any kind of alcohol. That's why he designed that when fruits go bad, they ferment. And certain things, they ferment. He just designed it like that. It's okay to drink alcohol. Me personally, I don't like it. I don't like the smell. I don't like the taste. And my particular bloodline has a bit of an issue with alcoholism, but that's neither here nor there, so gotta resist a little more, you know what I mean? Flesh is a bit of a pain. But oddly energetic this round, huh? Okay, so now to stop beating around the bush. There's that phrase again. Now back to, at least at this part, we're going to talk about the spiritual part of sex and why God says you can only really have sex within marriage. And having it outside of the confines of marriage is a sin. And he made it to be a sin because he designed you. Well, he designed men too. Some men are designed to have more wives than other men. That's why some men are more fertile than other men. Now, while some men are only designed to have one wife, or one or two, while other men are designed to have many, many wives. And we've seen this in the Bible before, and we also see that harems though not against it, God does recommend that you only marry one person at a time. And the simple thing is, we've seen how harems work, even in the Bible. Unless you're able to equivalently spread out all of your emotions between all of your wives, that's not gonna work. And harems don't work with a female lead, because women are only really able to truly bond with one man. That's just how God made it. And here's why. Because men are designed to be the head of the household, and when you are the head, you are the leader. That means you're leading not just one person, but a group of people. That's why men are usually the head when it comes to any harem. But things tend to get a little bit weird, because we as humans, we are made to love and be affectionate and be goofy and weird. And when we can't have that like one-on-one with that person that we love, we have a tendency to get jealous, or feel like that should go to us. And that, believe it or not, does come from God. Remember, we are a model creation of God. So what happens? God says that he is a jealous God, meaning he doesn't want to share us, the humans, with any other gods. Now, what is a god? We're really defining a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, so a god is essentially a being of an immense amount of power, a heavenly being of immense power. That is the human definition of God. Now, the true definition of what God is God. God is the definition of God, because he is all-knowing, all-powerful, and he's omnipotent, meaning he could pretty much be everywhere at once, exude authority over anything and everything, and pretty much, he's like, the best way to put it is the ultimate administrator over everything of everythings. That's literally the insanely oversimplified way of defining God. The insanely overly simplified way of defining God. And sorry, just a tad bit out of breath. But, and I understand that some of you are now, as I'm saying this, upset, especially some of the more sensitive people. It's okay to be sensitive, all right? If you're sensitive, that just means that God designed you with a bigger heart that cares more. I have a tendency to get upset over silly things as well. But with a female as a head of a harem, that doesn't work at all. Because of the simple fact of women are designed to be the support role, meaning though a woman can lead, she's not supposed to lead. That is a role meant for men. And when multiple men are going after one woman, we are not as rational as women. We can be a bit more the best way to put it is territorial over our potential spouse. Sometimes lethally so. So, and can women get more territorial of their particular partner than other women? Yes. That's also another reason why harems, even though they are possible, they don't work as well as a unified one-on-one marriage. Because even though we can marry multiple people, at least men can marry multiple women and feel reasonably okay, the women will not feel as loved as she would in a one-on-one marriage. Now, even in a one-on-one marriage, the woman can feel neglected as well. So that is because women, they love to be loved. And men, we also love to be loved. We just don't like to say it because, social standards and testosterone and, I don't care who you are. You can be the nicest guy in the world. We as dudes naturally just kind of, we see a woman in the room and naturally we're kind of just checking out the other dude. Like, can we take him? If the answer is no, we're going to try to appear bigger than we are. If the answer is yes, we're going to try to appear bigger than we are. By default. That's just kind of, God designed us to be leaders, so we don't want to share that leadership role with any other dude because we want to lead. And women, they're not designed to be leaders. They're designed to be a support. And when you have think of it like this, like a water tower. You can't have one beam and then have multiple water tower heads on it. Unless you make the beam incredibly, you have to make it not a beam. Meaning, you have to reinforce the beam with other beams within the beam, or have the beam in a different shape, which makes it not a beam. Because if you have it on top of a cone, then it's not a beam anymore. Now it's sitting on a cone. But if you have one water tower head, you can have multiple beams supporting it. The support structures, which is, in a way, kind of like what a harem is. Male lead, multiple support structures, meaning multiple women. Can it work with one beam? Yes. Can it work with multiple beams? Yes. But what happens when it has multiple beams and one of the beams fails? Meaning one of the supports becomes compromised or unsecured from the rest of the beams and the top of the water tower. Well, a number of things can happen. It could continue to get warped and warped and warped until it causes the whole structure to fall. It takes, especially in a bigger group, just one to make everything fall down. And that's part of the reason why God recommends one-on-one marriage over a harem type marriage. Monogamy over polygamy. Can it work? Yes. Will it work? That's completely circumstantial. Does God recommend one-on-one? Yes. Does he recommend one-on-one between a man and a woman? Also, yes. Can a man have multiple wives? Yes. We often see that with kings. When God puts a king in power, what happens? He has multiple concubines, multiple wives. And, that's it. Now, when the standard class man or the average man, what happens? He has to. He normally just sticks with one woman. Why? Why did God design us to prefer a one-on-one relationship over a big group? Now, even though we can function in a big group, and we do feel kind of safer in a big group, especially in a dangerous situation, but more often than not, we do feel a lot safer with a smaller one-on-one group, because that's how God designed us. Because God designed us to have a one-on-one relationship with Him. Now, because God is the leader and head over everything of everythings, meaning God can handle a relationship with thousands upon millions upon just and just an insane amount of humans, because He is the perfect leader, and He can give us just the right amount of love that we desire and need. While with a human male leading a bunch of other human females, it doesn't really work out that well. Can it work out? Yes, but He has to be impartial, meaning He has to love them all equally to the same degree. And if they all require a lot of love and attention, it makes it harder to lead. Now, can you be a standard leader over a group? Yes, you can. And some people are designed just to be leaders. Me, I can lead, I just don't like to, because quite frankly, I am incredibly lazy. But God did design me to be able to lead. At least, or at most, I'm not sure, at least a group of 7, and at most a group of maybe like 7,000 or so. And God will just kind of ramp that up as He makes me more able to process things. But personally, He's only really assigned me one wife, because He knows that I'm the kind of person that I have a hard time bonding with other beings. Like with another human being, I just have a hard time just making friends. I'm just kind of there. And even if it seems like I'm friendly, I'm just... The best way to put it is politely uncomfortable. And that's just kind of how I am. Just politely uncomfortable. Now, with a one-on-one marriage, it's a lot easier to be a lot more intimate than it is in a polygamous relationship. It's a lot easier to be the real you. Because if you show the real you to one, if you're in a harem, if you show the real you to one wife, you have to show the real you to the rest of them. And be unafraid to show them who you are. Now, women are designed to be the support structure, and think of it like the water tower, okay? If you ever ask or have a fit over this, just imagine the water tower. You can't have one support beam with multiple water tower heads. Because then you have to modify the beam to the point where it's not a beam anymore. And even with a building as well. When one support fails, then the other ones are also going to fail. So in a harem relationship, not only is the woman being a support for the male and helping him to, properly lead, he's also a support. He's also like, I don't know. Hold on. If one support fails, then the other ones are going to fail too. Because they're going to feel insecure about their decisions in some weird way. Though I do not understand human behaviors as well as everybody else does. Thanks to being, weird. Weird is a good word. And if one support fails, then the rest of them will fail too. And as we've clearly seen in multiple instances throughout history and even at the dawn of man, men will more often than not listen to their wives than heed God. Yeah. That's how important women are to a relationship. Yeah, men could just pretty much survive on their own for a while. But quite frankly, we are not the smartest of people. Yeah, we're strong, and yeah, we could be great leaders. But we don't really know how to properly emotionally connect without making things incredibly weird, at least in my case. And you gotta be okay with accepting the fact that you're a woman does not make you any less of a human being. In fact, your opinion, especially in a relationship, could actually help to make or break said relationship. Because we as men, we honestly probably won't notice when something is wrong unless it's brought to our attention. Because if we don't know something is wrong, we will think everything is okay no matter what. And this is coming from experience. And God designed women to be more, like, to pay more attention to things because we just don't. We're a team. So we gotta do the team thing and be team. You get what I mean? Okay. Well, I appear to be running a tad bit short on time. Thank you for sitting through this, honestly, not as awkward as I was expecting explanation of monogamy versus harems. Polygamy. So, thank you for watching. Glory be to God, and blessings be upon you. This is truly an honor that I get to do this for God. Thank you. And thank you for sitting through the whole video on top of that, because quite frankly, I'm pretty sure half the audience just walked out of the room. So, seriously, this is an honor. Thank you, and this is the Silver Watchman, signing out.